Jamie, did you always know you wanted to run your own business?
I think from the age of when I set my very first one at 12, I kind of always had the inkling that that's what something that I was going to go into doing. I didn't think I'd be doing it to the degree and to the scale that I'm doing it now, but I always had the kind of passion to be involved and be free and have the freedom to make my own decisions and kind of live off my own money in a sense.
And what's the best piece of advice you've been given?
I think the best piece of advice that I've ever been given is to do something that makes me happy, because something that I always give out when I mentor people is don't do something if you're not going to enjoy doing it. And I think when somebody told me, it was actually a family member that said, Jamie, if you're going to do something, make sure that it makes you happy because you will want to do it better. And I think that's the biggest piece of advice I've ever been given in anything, because I can adapt that to anything, whether it be business or personal life.
And how do you make a business stand out from others like it?
I think it's all about concentrating on the niche. So for me, I'm my business niche because I go out and I market myself more than I market my business. So for example, most of the work that my business gets is through me and the way that I go out and the way that I speak to people. I think a business's biggest asset is the person behind the business. So for example, if you look at people like Virgin, most people associate Virgin with Richard Branson, who is the man and the face of the business. And because of that relationship that Richard Branson has with his contacts, Virgin automatically has that as well. And that's been the lead that I've kind of tried to follow. So I think that the individual is the business's biggest niche.
And how long from when you first started trying to work in business did it take you to be successful?
I think I'm not fully successful yet. I think you'll always find bits where you think, oh, that's been fantastic, that's gone really successful, like a marketing campaign, or you just made a new sale, or you've got a new contract, something like that. And I think you get success in lumps. And then I think with everything that I've done this year, I've kind of summed it up to say, well, I'm in this position now, and the whole year has took me to get to where I've been to, but you get little batches of success all together. And I think I'll only truly be happy, and I'll only truly call myself successful is when I feel in myself and I feel accomplished as an individual, that I've been successful and done everything that I've wanted to do, whether it be in business and the personal aspects of life.
And if you weren't working in business, what do you think you'd be doing today?
I get asked that question quite a lot. I think with the routes that I was taking with football, because I was very keen and I was a very talented footballer and I was playing to quite a high level, I think my future would have been in football if it wasn't in business, because I still feel that sports and business have the same kind of mentality and the same kind of mindset, because it's all about being successful, it's all about being individuals, working in teams, collaborating the two together. It's about developing the right attitude and the right mindset to be a success in anything, and I think business and sports people share that kind of mindset.
And bearing in mind there are so many successful businessmen that didn't go into further education, why do you think employers like to take on people with degrees so much?
I think with everybody getting degrees and everybody going to university and thinking that degrees is a safe and steady option to get into employment, I think some people have started to see that now as not always the way to go. And something that I'm always keen to promote is the fact that I'm a student at the University of Life, and most of the stuff that I've learned and the skills that I've learned is from going out and doing things and not sitting back and reading a textbook. I'm not saying that textbooks are not helpful, because I read loads of books about marketing and sales and things like that, but I think the biggest skill and the biggest way and the best, most important thing that I could ever say to you is to go out and get the experience of doing it, and then using that experience to shape what you're doing. So in terms of the question, I think a lot of employers did like to take on people with university degrees and everything like that, but I think people's mindsets and attitudes towards education are now beginning to change, and they're beginning to see that experience is becoming ever more valuable.
And what would you say is the first step in setting up a successful business?
I think just going for it. I think just know what you want to do, have it clear in your own mind, even if people around you, because you'll get it all the time, people around you will say, oh, don't do that, what about if this happens, or maybe you should do it this way. I think once it's clear in your own mind and you've got the idea for it, you just go for it. You think that's what your heart's set on, that's what your mind's set on, that's what your passion is, that's where your focus lies. Just go for it. And I think everything that'll come in your way, whether it be hurdles, obstacles, they will always come. It's just having the right mentality and the right mindset to be able to overtake them and just think, you know what, I know where I'm going, I know what I've got to do to get there, and I'm not letting anything else stop me. So I think just taking that first initial step of just saying, going to do it is the most important thing.
And what do you like best about owning your own business?
I think it's the ability to be able to make my own decisions and the freedom, so I don't have to wake up every morning and answer to anybody. If I really want to, I can have that extra 15 minutes in bed and haven't got to answer to anybody, because at the end of the day it's my money, it's my business, it's my future, I get to call the shots. I think that's one of the things, but I think the thing that I enjoy most is just the freedom that I get and the ability to decide, and the fact that everything's in my own hands, so I'm not out working 12 hours a day to line somebody else's pockets. Everything that I'm doing is being beneficial to me and the people around me, so it's kind of like I'm in control of my own destiny, and I like that feeling.
And what one piece of entrepreneurial advice can you give us?
The ability to just keep smiling and just keep being happy and positive throughout anything that happens, because I've been in situations where I thought I ain't even got enough money to pay the bills for the rest of this month, but because I've been positive and I've thought, you know what, I can do this regardless of the situation that I'm in now, it's always spurred me on to carry on going and keep going forward. And I think that's one skill and attribute that all entrepreneurs have, is the ability to think long term and think in the future and think, you know what, I'm going to push past this because I know where my ultimate goal is, and I think that's one of the main key points and key components that all entrepreneurs share.
And what do you think is the most important enterprising skill? Leadership? Communication?
That's a good question actually. I think the most enterprising skill, personally from my experience, is the ability to interact with people, because I've literally built my business and built my success and built to where I've got to on the power of people. So developing the right kind of relationships, using those relationships as leverage to get to places, getting on with people, building rapport, and really developing your brand around people, because every kind of business that I've ever got has been through relationships that I've built up on social networking, through going to networking events, and really developing a relationship and an ongoing rapport with people, because I find that businesses is all about people, and you're more likely to get a sale if you get on with the person, and that's been sales advice that every single sales expert will give you, is the fact that people are not buying the product, people are buying from you. And I think that's been the main piece of advice and the main thing that I've learned through 6 years of running my own business. Cheers.